Oh, yeah. I grew up a video game junkie, still am. Um,
Oh, man.
my, uh my current dog's name is Zelda.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a thread that runs throughout.
I wanted to name we recently got some cats, and I like the show Arrested Development. I wanted to name the cat one of them George Michael, and
There you
it
go.
was like, "We're not naming the cat George Mike." I'm like, "Could you imagine if it got outside and you had to yell for it? Like,
Might
George
be some
Michael."
foreshadowing. Yeah.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Local Marketing Lab, where you get real-world insights from industry pros to help you drive local revenue and local growth. This podcast is brought to you by Evocalize, digital marketing tools powered by local data that automatically work where and when your locations need it most. Learn more at evocalize.com.
What's up, and welcome to the Local Marketing Lab. Joining us in the lab today is a guest that spent nearly a decade transforming Guild's approach to retail marketing. He's a full-throttle adrenaline junkie, a serious foodie, and the VP of Retail Marketing at Guild Mortgage, Drew Gillett. Thanks for joining us in the lab, my friend.
Hey, happy to be here.
This is awesome. I was trying to figure out, like, what is the best guest that I could possibly get on the show, and the name Gillette popped into mind. It's the best a man could get.
It sure is. Although, no relation to the brand.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm sure it's a brand new joke for you. Well, hey, I'm super excited to get you into the lab. For those who are listening, they may or may not know that you guys are one of our great partners, and we get some insight into things that you guys are doing on the marketing side, kind of behind the scenes. And I thought it would be awesome to bring you on, given your role over at Guild, and kind of talk us through, what are some of the great things you guys are doing from a local marketing perspective, to give some of our guests some insights around, like, what really good marketing looks like. But before we do that, if you could tell us a little bit about your journey and kind of how you got to where you are leading the marketing team over at Guild.
Sure. Let's see. I'll start with nobody intends to get into mortgage, right? That's not the thing to think about when you're in high school and college, any of those things. So my journey started, kind of my first career was in the legal field,
Mm,
in litigation with law firms, that kind of thing. I'd grown up around attorneys, and so it just kind of made sense for me as I was
mm,
exploring, what do I do next? So I did that for about 7 years. I was primarily in the litigation consulting side, so also a career I didn't know existed until I landed
yeah.
in. And so I was working on things like witness prep and jury selection and mock trials, all the cool behind the scenes things that you see on TV, which are
Yeah.
way over dramatized. But it was fun. And then I decided to make a pivot, um, and figure out what was next. So I stepped into another side of consulting. I'm in Seattle, so I figured, what's the next logical step? Well, tech companies,
Yeah.
right? They're everywhere. So I was working with uh, a few of the big names around here in the Seattle area, um, and I was working with a vendor who worked with them, and my contract was coming up. So I had a
Yeah.
full-time offer from one of those big companies, and my recruiter called me, and she said, "Hey, I want you to take this interview with this mortgage company. Are you interested?" I said, "Not really. That sounds boring." She said, "No, no, no. Like, just go meet these guys. I think you'll really like it." And I
Yeah.
did. So my journey started there in the mortgage industry. I met with a regional VP up here in the Northwest, um, and they hired me in knowing, like, this was part of the end of our interview decision making process. You're overqualified. We want you to come in and do whatever you think is best. And I
Mm,
said, "Well, that's a really interesting proposition, especially
mhm.
compared to this other job offer I had." And I said, "Let's do it." And you know what? I can leave anytime it gets boring.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's the thing. I think on the marketing, on
not
the
close,
marketing,
I'm still here.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like, on the marketing side of things, because I do marketing as well. It's a lot of fun, and it really, it is what you make of it. I've worked in some pretty boring industries as well, like telecom and like payment processing and stuff. It's not really exciting, but if if you are interesting and you're creative, you can make it exciting, and that's actually what makes you a really good marketer in those spaces. It helps you to stand out, amongst all the other kind of shades of gray that are out there.
Mhm.
So, you know, Guild they're massive, right? You guys are like, I think number 5 in terms of on the retail market, on the retail mortgage side.
Yep.
2,300 loan officers, big deal. You're working to help, on the field marketing side of things, like get the name and the brand out there, not only on behalf of all the LOs, but also you're arming them with tools to do their own marketing as well. So like it's been a transition, over the past almost 10 years that you've been there. Like, where did you kind of start? Where did you come in from a marketing standpoint? Where were things? And then like, what did you put in place to help, enable the LOs to own their markets?
Yeah. So Guild has always been kind of the flavor of a local lender, right? We have brick and mortar branches all across the U.S. I think we're somewhere just under 1,000
Mm,
physical locations, right? Um, which is a totally different model than an online lender.
yeah.
So when I came into Guild, it was very much focused on how do I help the people in my market get their name out there, build their brand, build their presence, so that they can generate business. Um, our loan officers are commission based, right? So they only get paid when they close a loan, but at the same time, their goal is to help everybody possible get into a home or get a better rate. Um, and they're not incentivized differently based on anybody that they help.
Mm,
Um, and so my goal initially was how do I help build this business at the micro level and start to learn this industry
mm.
and make sure that it's succeeding at that level and is scalable.
What were the first things that you kind of put into place? You're like, if I'm going to make a significant difference, like I need to tackle this thing. Was it the brand? Was it, tools or, things that to put in the hands of the LOs doing marketing for them? Where'd you
Sure.
focus?
So, Guild had just gone through a big rebrand right before I joined.
Mm,
So pretty much everybody was adjusting to this new style, this new message, this new um, kind of different marketing points that we were using across the company.
mm,
And so I came into a little bit of turbulence trying to figure out not only how do I do this, but everybody else is also figuring out how do we do it too.
mhm,
It wasn't a drastic change. It was just a change, which is always work, right?
mhm,
And so when I came in, I tried to bring a lot of the concepts that I had developed over my career in sending the right messaging and enabling the right tools for the job as opposed to just whatever you had been using.
mhm,
Uh, One of the challenges but benefits of having such a distributed retail sales force is
mhm.
that a lot of people have come up with their own solutions because they needed to, right?
Right.
They are
Yeah.
boots on the ground and they need to make things work.
Mhm,
Uh, one of the first things that I did when I went into one of our biggest branches in the Northwest was talk about video. Um, Even back then in 2016, this is something I knew is the way of the future, right? You need to have
mhm,
your face, you need to be present, people need to understand who you are if you're going to operate in a local market under a large brand.
mhm.
Uh, so it's something that I started pushing from day one and still push today.
Yeah. It's one of the most impactful, kind of tactics you can employ, and I think even on the marketing side, like it's intimidating, especially to get started and do your first videos. Like a lot of times people think like animation, like design, I got to do graphics and it's luckily because not everyone out there has the skills to do that. But the demand on the consumer side is that people want authenticity. So that makes it really easy for somebody to go in and create their own videos. To just, you see a lot of the talking heads all over the social channels. So people they engage with it. It helps to establish a personal connection, and the algorithms love it. And
Mhm.
you're way more likely to get served up to folks in your local community if you're doing video versus other content types.
Agreed. I mean, it's built into the algorithms. You put a
Yeah.
picture of the front of your business versus a picture of your face. It's going to
Yeah.
perform better if it's a picture of you. It's just the way it works. And like you said, the audience that you're speaking to is asking for this, so it's easy,
Hmm.
right? They want human, they want hyper local, and that's what we want too. We don't want to push the brand. We don't.
Yeah.
One thing I commonly say when we're starting projects internally or I'm working with new partners is Guild does not succeed if somebody gets a loan with Guild Mortgage. Guild only succeeds if they get a loan through Guild Mortgage with one of our local lenders. And that's how
Mm.
we approach every aspect of marketing from a central space. But it's to help emphasize that we're here to support our loan officers in their branches.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like the customer's experience with a loan officer. Like the marketing helps to bring it in, but it helps to establish the relationship and repeat business and stuff. So there's more than just getting that initial loan. It's like giving them the tools they need to help establish those relationships so they can keep the business coming back for themselves over and over the years. Um, what are some things that you may have tested, excuse me, that would have worked really well from a marketing side on the local end, and then maybe some things that you've tried that man, it was a flop, but you still learned from it.
Sure. What works really well, and I'll speak to the recent
Yeah.
kind of time frame, is building a personal brand online. Um, you know, online is this big open term, and then we can narrow it down to say on social media,
Mm,
which started as social networking. So it works when you own your channel, own your space, own your community
mm,
online, and start using social media as social networking.
mhm,
Also, a really easy place to get your face on video.
mhm.
Uh, so we are emphasizing that, pushing that with our loan officers, really trying to help people step into it. Like you said earlier, it can be hard to record your first video, right? It can be kind of scary. I don't know what I'm doing. Do I need to hire a big production company?
Yeah,
No, you just need to hold up your phone and take a video and talk about some stuff. These are the same conversations that they are having every single day with anybody they're on the phone with or in person with.
yeah.
It's just putting it out there. So that's something that's working out there
Mm,
right now. A couple of things that we've tried in the past that didn't work. Those are always fun.
right,
What do we learn from the flops? Um, there are so many ways to burn money.
right.
Um, we've gone through phases where we do digital advertising, whether it's spending money on Google Ads, whether it's working with a vendor who's selling this nice new shiny offering where they say they can bring you a bunch of leads.
Mhm,
Uh, and generally, it's an easy way to burn money because you can be too broad, you can be too non-specific, you can be mistimed with the market. Like that's not the way people are finding you. Uh,
mhm.
Misaligned with your audience, you're marketing to the wrong people.
Yeah,
Um, and so there are a lot of pitfalls there that we've gone through, learned from, and help educate our loan officers about how to avoid. But
yeah,
there are also a lot of really good right ways to do digital marketing.
yeah. I think you touched on it's a easy way to burn money. The thing with on the digital side with paid, it takes time. And that's another if you don't have best practices and stuff baked into what you're doing and you're trying to do things you don't quite know what's going on,
Mhm.
that's where it's like not only are you spending a lot of money, but you're doing it over a longer period of time because you have to really give it a chance to work. But if you have something set up that is not going to work from the get-go, it's you're kind of dooming yourself and you don't realize it until a couple of months have gone by and you've kind of burned through that cash.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of relate it to like building a road to your storefront, right?
Mhm.
So you can spend too little and you're building brick by brick this road to your storefront that some people are going to take, but you're really not going to get the traffic you're looking for because it's not really a road.
Mhm.
Um, you can switch it up and then you're starting from ground zero, right? You switch from brick to something else. Uh, now you're starting over. You got to try and see if this is going to work. But really, the winning formula is you make it a clear path. You spend the right amount of money. You do it for the right amount of time. and you do it with the right content on the right channels, and it ends up building a direct road to your storefront.
So how are your LOs doing it? How do they know what the right amount is, like, to get started? It seems like I know it's a daunting task just on the marketing side, having done my own paid digital stuff for different companies. Like, where you start is kind of a nightmare because you the whole time you're sweating and thinking, is this the right place? And am I just going to throw a bunch of cash in a hole?
Yeah. The right place to start is before you even consider spending money on paid ads or lead.
Uh-huh.
The place you need to start is your processes, your follow-up, um, your team behind you that you have for contacting leads, because online is 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
But most individual salespeople can't be, even if they want to be.
Right.
And so you need a team set up and you need a process and a system set up to handle this. Otherwise, again, you're back to burning money.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where to start is the process. We give loan officers at Guild a ton of tools to help make this successful.
Uh-huh.
Uh, we have a team centrally that we offer called our dispatch team, which is like an ISA or some kind of inbound call taker. And
Mm-hmm.
so when people are either reaching out digitally, so through email or a form or something else, or they're calling in, this same team is the team that's doing outbound. They take these calls and route them, and if a loan officer is not available, book a meeting, right? Those kind of things, those
Mm-hmm.
processes and systems. Um, Separately, you have to have a system for follow up. Most people who reach out to you through a digital ad are not immediately ready to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Uh, so you need to have that follow up set up and in place.
Mm-hmm.
It is, in my opinion, the most important thing to make that first contact point and get the first response. You need to validate that this person is actually interested in what their basic situation is. When it comes to housing, we all know it's complex, it's expensive out there right now. And there are challenges, but everybody's got their own unique financial story. And one of the kind of key attributes of Guild is that we like to dive deep into that and find out what someone's goals are. How much are you comfortable with as a monthly payment? Which
Mm-hmm.
can dictate, like, do rates matter? Probably not. It's really about, like, how is this going to fit into your lifestyle and your journey for homeownership?
Mm. So for those, like, you've talked a little bit about the tools that you guys provide for those who are maybe, and it could even be outside of mortgage too, but like maybe they're struggling to get started, maybe struggling on the social side of things. You know, they're not seeing the growth they want. I know right now the market is tough. Like, what are some things that you would suggest that they could do, just maybe test today or maybe sometime this week to help get the ball rolling in the right direction, especially in this tough time with the housing market?
Um, I'll touch on a couple of things, and they're industry agnostic, really.
Hmm.
But when it comes to sales and local business, I already touched on video, personal brand, social media, those kind of things. Do a digital audit of your space and of yourself. So make sure that you're showing up everywhere consistently, that you have a presence, that you're regularly participating online, because people will look for you online. It's just the way it is today.
Hmm.
The second thing you need to do is get out in your community. Um, from a local marketing perspective, what is having an impact right now are in-person events and
Hmm.
participation. So just like I mentioned, social media, social networks, social community, in-person community is just as important, if not more.
Hmm.
Um, One of the things that loan officers come to me about a lot of times is, okay, well, what do I do? What do you mean? Just like throw a happy hour and hope people show up? No, not
Yeah.
really. Um, Find out what your interests are. And the easiest way to do that is, what do you find yourself going down rabbit holes on, right? When
Right.
you're on YouTube and you keep clicking and clicking and clicking, or you're on TikTok or you're on Reddit or whatever it is, what
Yeah.
rabbit holes do you find yourself going down all the time consistently? Those are your interests. So find groups in your community that are built around that.
Hmm.
Start to build relationships, right? Those will lead to more business in your local community. And those people are the same ones who are going to be looking you up online. So that's why it's important to have that tied together.
Yeah, I talk quite a bit about the importance of doing just exactly what you're talking about, and with the idea being that you're tapping into audiences that already exist. Whenever you make a relation or you form a relationship with somebody, they have a following, right? They have their own sphere of influence, and if you're able to make the connection with them and then potentially to their network, now you're able to really grow at a much faster clip than you would if you were running your own like, let's say you're doing your own organic social campaign or something like that. If you could bring in others, even better. So an example of that might be, hey, you're running down, like if you're on the mortgage side, hey, you want to go highlight a local real estate agent who might be having an open house or something in the area. Go in, take a video, drop into the open house, give a little, 1 minute clip on you talking to them and showcasing their personality and giving them free marketing, right? They
Huh?
will love it. They'll love you for it, and they will do what they can to help drive business your way. Now, think if you did that, with a multiplier, if you did that with 10, 15, 20, 50 people in your community, pretty soon you're going to be the mayor and everyone's going to know who you are.
Yeah. And I think that's a really key point, just to highlight it again. Building relationships outside of agents and realtors has to be part of your strategy.
Yeah. 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 Because otherwise, you're competing with if you're an LO, you're competing with other LOs in your same area for the referral business of, the well-known agents, right? You
Mhm.
want to obviously do what you can to form those relationships, but it's kind of it's going to be pretty saturated relatively quickly. So it's like, you might as well, like you said, put your feelers out in other areas, to help tap into those audiences as well.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of calls back a line: "Your net worth is your network," right?
Yeah.
And it's not the idea of like who you know is just like worth money. It's when you start engaging with the owner of that local coffee shop, and you can introduce them to somebody who can help them with a problem they have. You've just added value to this relationship. When
Hmm.
you can go meet, the local barber and introduce them to an agent who can help them find a home because they mentioned they've been looking because you're in the real estate space while you're getting your hair cut.
Yeah.
You've now created that relationship times two, right? You're building that connection sphere, and that's
Hmm.
really where the magic happens.
100%. We have a real estate agent he lives in our neighborhood, and he is so plugged in. His name's Kyle Scrolla. I don't know what agency he's with, but he is the coach of the lacrosse team for the kids. He coaches swim team, a couple weeks after lacrosse is over with. Like, he is plugged into everything, and everyone in the neighborhood knows him. They all really like him. All the kids love him. His coach Kyle, you know what I mean? And he's basically like really embedded himself into the community through his efforts, doing things that have nothing to do with real estate. Do you have any examples you could think of where and it could be outside of the industry as well, but like someone who's doing their local marketing like really, really well?
Mm. I mean, I love to follow like these interesting big brand success stories.
Yeah,
So I'm going to talk about some that are outside the industry because I talk about those
perfect.
all the time. Um, there was an interesting one. Nike,
Mhm,
for example, there there was a marathon in Mexico City, um, where Adidas was the title sponsor. And
mhm,
so what Nike did from a local level is they had a movement called, what was it? Own the marathon, I think.
mhm.
And they placed a bunch of hyperlocal, out of home, like billboard, banner, bus stop ads throughout the entire track of the race that not only just were like their logo, right? There were
Yeah,
messages tied to the event. So as you got further through the marathon, it was messages about getting tired and you can take that next step, and like
yeah,
all those moments that create that feeling not only for people participating in the event, but really gave that brand value of like they get me, right? It's
yeah,
authentic. They know what's happening right now. They're not disconnected, even though they're an international company.
yeah,
They're here and they're speaking to me, right? It's that
yeah.
that feeling of connection. I thought that was a really cool example.
No, that is a really good one. That is a really good one. Yeah, when it's tough too if you think about like the size of Nike's huge, and to do something local like that, it's an undertaking. Now you think of how many of those things are they doing, all over the world. It's got to be insane. But
Yeah.
when you, but you, I mean, there's value in it, right? In local engagement, there's so much more value than if I were to run if I were to run, let's say, a paid digital campaign nationally, odds are that Google or Facebook or wherever are going to spend my money in like big metros like New York, LA, Chicago, right? And it's just going to spend it up as efficiently as possible, right? And it's not really going to benefit me. But if I were to do it in my local area, obviously I'm going to get I'm going to get way more benefit from doing so, right? Now, if you can do that with your strategy, like if you're on the corporate side and you can empower your teams to be able to do local marketing at scale, it's way more effective than just running one campaign kind of one and done on behalf of.
Yeah. I mean, I'll circle back to that's one of our differentiators, right? Because we have this distributed retail force in the community,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, the people that you're working with when you buy a home are in your community. They know people in your community. They're there.
Yeah.
And so they have a deeper understanding of how to apply the larger Guild brand into that local space.
Yeah.
And that's what we try and empower them to do.
Yeah. Give them tools, templates, give them a starting point where they can get all the heavy lifting out of the way, fill in their information and kind of go from there. Like, it seems like a solid approach. All right, switching gears just a little bit. So I did some digging in your background before bringing you on, and I mentioned a little bit earlier, like you love, adrenaline-filled sports, wakeboarding, snowboarding stuff, like all of the same things that I like. And I'm like, what else does this guy like that I like? And I'm digging in, and you have like a lot of Nintendo references in some of your content. Did you grow up like was Nintendo your thing growing up?
Oh yeah. I grew up a video game junkie, still am. Um,
Oh man,
my my current dog's name is Zelda.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a thread that runs throughout.
I wanted to name. We recently got some cats, and I like the show Arrested Development. I wanted to name the cat one of them George Michael, and
There you go.
it was like we're not naming the cat George Mike. I'm like, could you imagine if it got outside and you had to yell for it, like
Might
George
be some
Michael?
foreshadowing. Yeah.
Well, I thought it might be cool to take, given that your interest is kind of in the Nintendo world, drop you into as a kind of a Pikachu, Pokemon trainer here. So,
There we
anyways,
go.
yeah. Well, this is as good as an NFT without the value, is what I like to say. So,
We'll see. They could always go up.
I mean, you also go down the Bitcoin and crypto kind of rabbit holes. So you might know something I don't. We'll get it over to you, and you can make some money on it. All right, man. Well, hey, before I let you go, how do folks follow you? How do they follow Guild Mortgage?
Yeah. So Guild Mortgage, you can find across all the big social channels. If it's for business, we're probably going to be posting on LinkedIn. But we have a really fun and engaging Instagram channel. We've been the team has been doing a lot of really cool creative content out there the last year or so. So I'd recommend anybody go check that out, give us a follow. If you want to follow me, I'm very active on LinkedIn as well. Personal stuff. Typically I keep it to Instagram and Facebook, but LinkedIn I'm the most active on. Almost, a couple of times a week, I'll put something up there of just tactics or ideas that are working. So feel free to give me a follow, and my content will be there.
Very cool. That's some really cool content. And the other thing I like about your channels is it seems like you do a lot of traveling. And so just to see, the different places you go, the food you try, it's a very well curated social channel, across all of them. So good work on that.
Well, I'm a big believer that traveling gives you perspective. So I try to do
100%.
it whenever I can, because sometimes when you're just in the grind, it can get you locked into a mindset that, you need to be able to step out of. And sometimes that's physically stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Very well put. Well, awesome, Drew. It was a ton of fun having you in the lab. Thanks for joining us. And thanks to you to everybody for listening.
Yeah. Thanks.
This podcast is brought to you by Evocalize. To learn how Evocalize can help you grow your business, visit evocalize.com. If you learned something new from today's episode, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and on X at Evocalize. That's Evocalize. And remember, keep innovating and trying new things. You never know what's going to connect with your audience until you try. And until next time, thanks for listening.